ਜੰਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਹਉ ਕਿਆ ਸਲਾਹੀ ਕਿਰਮ ਜੰਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਤੂੰ ਅਗੰਮ ਦਇਆਲ ਅਗੰਮ ਹੈ ਤੂੰ ਅਗੰਮ ਦਇਆਲ ਅਗੰਮ ਹੈ ਆਪ ਲੈ ਮਿਲਾਈ ਆਪ ਲੈ ਮਿਲਾਈ मैं तुझ बिन बेली को नहीं मैं तुझ बिन बेली को नहीं तू अंत सखाई तू अंत सखाई जो तेरी शरणागति जो तेरी शरणागति तिन लै छड़ाई तिन लै छड़ाई नानक वे परवाह है नानक वे परवाह है तिस तिल ना तमाई तिस तिल ना तमाई हूँ क्या सलाही किरम जंत वड्डी तेरी वड्याई हूँ क्या सलाही किरम जंत वड्डी तेरी वड्याई वड्डी तेरी वड्याई ਵੱਡੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ So thank you to everyone for joining in. Today will be the virtual Saki for Sikh initiative today. So before I begin, I want to cover the Shabad that I just sang and why I sang this Shabad. So whenever I do talk about Sikhi, I end up singing this Shabad because I think the first two lines are very important. So the first line, "Ho kya salahi kirm jant vaddi teri vadiyai." So what this means is, "Ho kya salahi?" How can I do your salah? How can I sing your praises to Guru Sahib? Vaddi teri vadiyai, main kirm jant ha. Ho kya salahi kirm jant. Kirm jant means worm. That I'm a lowly insect. Guru Sahib here, Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj Ji in Rag Suhi is singing in humility, in Nimrata, calling themselves a worm. So Guru Sahib says, how can I sing your praises? How can I talk about your greatness, Guru Sahib? Thadi vadiyai ta vadiya, vaddi teri vadiyai, and I am just a kirm. I'm just a kirm jant, a worm, a lowly worm. So the next line, Guru Sahib says, "Tu agam diyal agam hai, aap la milai." What this means is you are agam, Guru Sahib. Tusi agam ho. So what does agam mean? Agam means something that is hard to understand or hard to reach. So Guru Sahib is saying that, Vaheguru Ji, you are agam. You are something that is hard for me to describe, something that's hard for me to reach or understand. But aap leh milai, if you unite, if you do kirpa, then I can understand you. So when talking about Gurbani or talking about Sikh history or anything, we have to realize that "Ho kya salahi kirm jant." How can I praise Guru Sahib? I can't, because I'm very lowly. I don't know much. And before I start, I do want to say that everything I do say is something I've learned, and not, I could be wrong. It's always important to realize that before starting, that We are just worms in the creation, and it's hard for us to the Vadai of Guru Sahib. So I can imagine Guru Amar Das Ji sitting there and writing this, because Guru Amar Das Ji was a Nigura at one point. Before he met Guru Angad Dev Ji, he was a Nigura. So Guru Amar Das Ji talking about himself as a kirm, as a worm. You know, I can see where Guru Sahib is saying that when he was divinely inspired to recite the Bani. So another pankti that comes to mind, and that is sort of a theme of this Sakhi that we're going to cover today, is Paya Manur Kanchan Fir Hove Je Gur Mila Taneha. That's something that was disgusting, something that was gross and it was disgusting, it was like garbage. Paya Manur Kanchan Fir Hove, that thing can become gold. Kanchan meaning gold, it can become beautiful. Je Gur Mila Taneha, if you meet such a guru. So Guru, all of these Sikhs, all of the gurus in our history as well, they met people, right, who were disgusting people, who were evil people. But then by the touch of the Guru, Jai Gur Mila Taneha, they became Kanchan, they became like gold. So the Sakhi that we're going to talk about today is the Sakhi of Bhai Manj. Some of you may have heard the Sakhi before, but for some it might be new. So Bhai Manj, who was he and why is he so important? Because in my opinion, Bhai Manj is one of the most important Gursikhs in our history, and some of us don't even know who he was. So Bhai Manj, the line of Paya Manur Kanchan Fir Hove Je Gur Mila Taneha, it really applies, because what Bhai Manj was and what he became, that line it 100% fits the description. So who was Bhai Manj? Bhai Manj was, his actual name was Tirtha. That was his name. Manj was just his last name, his family name, his clan name. So he became known as Bhai Manj, but his real name was Bhai Tirtha. His name was Tirtha. Now, in order to understand and proceed with the Sakhi, we have to understand a group known as the Sakhi Sarvar, a group. So the Sakhi Sarvar is still around today. It's not really a religion. It's more of a cult. It's more of a collection of different beliefs and values. And Sakhi Sarvar was basically a cult or a group that was started by someone known as Sheikh Ahmed Sultani, his name was. And he lived in the 12th century, 11th to 12th century. And he was a Muslim. He was raised as a Muslim, and his history is very long and it doesn't really fit. We won't have time to cover his history. But basically he started this group, and he had a lot of miraculous powers, and he showed these powers off, and he gained a lot of followers. And these followers didn't have to be Muslim, they didn't have to be Hindu, they could be any religion. And he didn't really convert anyone, but he kind of just became his little cult, his group, and people began to join him. And he became a very powerful cult in Punjab during the times of the Gurus. So the Mughals at the time, they obviously wanted to convert as many people to Islam as possible. We've seen that's been one of their biggest goals when they were in Punjab. And so what they saw was, they didn't really see Sakhi Sarvar as true or legitimate Islam. They saw it as a break-off group or as a small sect. But what they were smart, the leaders were smart. A lot of the Muslim leaders at that time, they saw that the Sakhi Sarvar group could be a stepping stone for people that were Hindus or other religions, for Jains or Buddhists in India, who their eventual goal was to get them to become Muslims. But Sakhi Sarvar was a nice stepping stone, right? Middle ground. First convert them to Sakhi Sarvar, introduce them to Islam a little bit, but then fully convert them afterwards. So Sakhi Sarvar, the group, was really big and powerful, and the Muslims saw it as an important tool for them to convert all of India or all of the area of Punjab to Islam. So Tirtha, as we know him as Bhai Manj later on, but Tirtha was a leader of the Sakhi Sarvar group in his area. So Punjab is divided up now, especially is divided up into three main regions. There are other regions, but mainly we see them as Majha, Doaba, and Malwa. So each region had its own leader. And Bhai Manj or Bhai Tirtha, he was the leader of the Doaba area. His pind was near Hoshiarpur, which is in Doaba. So Bhai Tirtha, along with his followers, every single year they would do this massive yatra to the shrine of their Baba, basically of their guru, of the founder of their cult. And every single year they would go and they would pass through, because if you know the geography of Punjab, from Doaba you have to go Hoshiarpur, you have to go all the way, and you have to go through Lahore, through Amritsar. So they would pass through Govindwal Sahib and they would pass through Amritsar Sahib. And so Mehma Prakash, which is a historical granth within the Panth that we rely on for some of our Sakhis, it's written in Mehma Prakash that Bhai Tirtha, he had already heard of the Vadiyai of Guru Arjan Dev Ji before he went to Amritsar, before he went through Amritsar that 1 year. He had heard about how amazing Guru Sahib is. He had heard about the Vadiyai of Guru Sahib, of the Vadiyai of Sikhi. So on the way back from their trip, their yatra that they took every single year to their shrine, the grave of their founder of the Sakhi Sarvar group, they were making their way back and they went through Amritsar. So Bhai Tirtha, he went through Amritsar. And one thing to note, Bhai Tirtha was very rich. Bhai Tirtha was very wealthy, he was very powerful. He was like the mayor of his village and the surrounding villages. People came to him for help, financial help, because he had a lot of money. He had a lot of land. He had a lot of cattle, right? A lot of livestock. And he had a lot of pride in who he was, in his position. His position of being a leader of the Sakhi Sarvar group in his area, and also of having all the wealth and being a sort of mayor, you can call him, of his area in Punjab, of the Hoshiarpur area. He had a lot of maan, he had a lot of pride, and wherever he went, he took with him 500 men as a sort of a statement saying that, look, I have enough money and power, I take 500 men with me wherever I go, as a posse sort of. So you have to realize that he was really proud of who he was. He was really proud of his position and wealth. So he had heard of Guru Arjan Dev Ji and he was curious that this new guru, this new leader that has started this new religion, who is this person? He wants to meet them. And so as he was making his way back from the shrine and he was passing through Amritsar, he told his followers, who were hundreds and probably near 1,000 of them, he said, we're going to go visit this guru. We're going to see what this guru is all about. What's so amazing about this guru? So Bhai Tirtha, Bhai Manj as he's known, he goes to Amritsar, he goes to Darbar Sahib, and he sits in Sangat, and he's blown away. He's mesmerized. He's overcome with emotion. For the first time in his life, he experienced something. He for his entire life, even though he was leader of this group, of this cult, the Sakhi Sarvar cult, even though he was leader of them and he was well respected, he had never felt anything spiritually. He had never attained any spiritual status. But sitting in the Sangat there for that short amount of time, and listening to Kirtan, listening to Gurbani, listening to Gursikhs do Vichar, and seeing Gursikhs doing Seva, he felt that this was Satyug, that they were not living in Kaljug anymore, but they were living in Satyug. So he said, he looked around, he looked at Gursikhs, and he asked them, he's like, how are you guys so happy? Why are you guys glowing? Where is this coming from? And they said that we do Naam Abhyas, we read Bani, we do Seva, and the Guru Sahib has blessed us with this avastha, this spiritual state. And so Bhai Tirtha, he goes to Guru Arjan Dev Ji. He falls at Guru Arjan Dev Ji's feet and he says, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, bless me with this kirpa, bless me with this Naam, with the Sikhi that your followers, your Sikhs have here. I want to feel, I want to drink that Amrit, I want to taste that spiritual life. I got a small taste of it, but I want to fully experience it. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji said no. He said, "Main tenu Sikh nahi banana, I'm not going to make you a Sikh." And Bhai Tirtha says, why? And Bhai Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Tirtha, you have everything. You already have a religion. You're so powerful. You have so much wealth. You have such a big position. Why do you want to change your life now? You're fine. You don't need to be a Sikh. Jalja, just go, leave. And Bhai Tirtha said, no, Guru Sahib. He said, Guru Sahib, I'm begging you that please make me a Sikh. And Guru Sahib was very hard with him. He said, nahi, his Sikhi is hard. Guru Sahib said, Sikhi is harder than Khanyo Tikhi Valo Niki. It's a hard life. You have an easy life right now. You have an easy religion. Follow that religion. You don't need Sikhi. Main nahi Sikhi deni. I'm not giving you naam. And Bhai Tirtha crying and begging at Guru Sahib's feet, he said, Guru Sahib, please bless me with naam. Minu naam de do. Minu Sikh bana lo. And Guru Sahib said, he said a few things important to note. Guru Sahib said that the primary virtue, the foremost gun of a Gur Sikh is nimrata, is humility, is humbleness. And so Tirtha understood that Guru Sahib was taking a shot at his wealth, his position, the pride he felt at his family, his wife, his daughter, his status in his pind, in his area. And then Guru Sahib said that Sikhi cannot be built upon Sikhi. So what this meant was that you cannot be a Sikh and at the same time be a follower of the Sakhi Sarvar cult. So by Tirtha, he understood what Guru Sahib was saying, and he realized that he needed to first remove his affiliation with the Sakhi Sarvar group, and he needed to attain humility. And he said to Guru Sahib, Guru Sahib, I'll give you anything. I'll give you everything I have, anything you need, just give me, make me a Sikh, give me Sikhi. And Guru Sahib said, Dekh la, you will lose everything you have. Are you willing to sacrifice everything? And Bhai Manj, who was so overcome with how beautiful Sikhi was, how he had, the first time in his life, he had drunk something spiritual, and he was high on this power of Naam and Bani and Sangat. And he said, Guru Sahib, I'm willing to give up anything and everything. And Guru Sahib said, Theek hai. So Guru Sahib ne Naam ditta. Guru Sahib gave him Naam, and Guru Sahib gave him Charan Paul, and Guru Sahib made him a Sikh. So then, by Manj, he said to his followers, he said, "Tusi Sikh banna, you can become a Sikh. If you're not, you can leave." And some of them did become Sikhs, and some of them left. By Manj, he stayed in Amritsar, and he continued to do seva in Amritsar of Gur Sikhs and of Guru Sahib. After a little while, Guru Sahib called him into his darbar, and he said, Bhai Manj, go back to your pind and do prachar of Sikhi there. In your pind, in your surrounding villages, in your surrounding areas, do prachar of Gurmat, do prachar of Sikhi. You are the leader of the Sakhi Sarvar cult. You are a big, powerful, you had a position in there. Now use your new gained love for Sikhi and do prachar of it and make those people into Sikhs too. Show them Sikhi and show them the beauty of Sikhi and how they are on the wrong path. So by Manj, he goes back to his house. And what he does is the first thing he does, he gets rid of the Sakhi Sarvar shrine he had in his house that he used to worship to, that he used to pray to. And so basically he destroys it and he starts building a Dharamsal, which is a Gurdwara. And in this Dharamsal, they would do Kirtan, they would read Bani, right? They would do Prachar, he would do Prachar of Sikhi. Eventually the news spread to the other Sakhi Sarvar leaders and the powerful people within the Sakhi Sarvar group. And they came to Bhai Tirtha. They came to Bhai Manj and they said, Bhai Manj, what have you done? You've made the biggest mistake of your life. They said, if you regret it now and you convert back, we'll forgive you. But Bhai Tirtha said, no. He said, the path you are following, worshipping graves, worshipping stone idols, he said, that's not going to get you anywhere. The Sikhi is a true path. By jumping Naam, by doing Bani, reading Bani, doing Simran, doing Seva, we can actually attain Vaheguru. We can meet Vaheguru in this life. We can meet God in this life. And they said, no, they said, you've been converted, you've been brainwashed. And they said, we're giving you a last chance to convert over back to the Sakhi Sarvar cult. And Bhai Manj said, no. He said, what I have gotten now from Sikhi, I never got from all my years being a powerful having a powerful position in your group, in your religion. So they left, and while they left, they cursed him. They said, if you don't come back to this religion, if you don't come back to us, you lose everything you have. And Bhai Manj didn't care, because although he had lost, he felt he would lose everything. It was a sacrifice he was willing to make, giving up everything he had for Sikhi, for Naam, for how he felt, the spiritual experiences he was having at that point. To him, it was worth it. So that first night after the Sakhi Sarwar leaders came and cursed him and left, his cattle died. All of his cows, they died. And the next night, his neighbor's cows died. And the following night, his other neighbor's cows died. And so slowly, all the cows in his pind started dying. And the villagers, some of them who had converted to Sikhi, some of them who hadn't converted but were still Hindus or they were still Sakhi Sarwar followers, they turned against Bhai Manj. They turned against Tirtha. And they said to him, leave this religion. What have you gotten from this? Nothing. You haven't gotten anything from this religion. Leave it. You haven't got any faida, you haven't gotten any profit from this religion. And Bhai Manj said that what I felt inside is worth losing everything. So then what happened is Bhai Manj had crops. He had a lot of land. His crops started failing. A lot of the crops started dying. And then his neighbor's crops started dying. And everything surrounding his house, everything started dying. And over some time, Bhai Manj went from a powerful, wealthy man into someone who had nothing. He had to sell his house because he had no money for food. He had to sell his house. They had to marry their daughter. They had no money. So he had to sell his house. He had to sell his belongings. He had to sell so much. And finally, him and his wife were left in a tiny little hut, in a tiny little home. And they still needed more money. No one would give any. Bhai Manj couldn't be hired. No one would hire him. They thought he was cursed. So he couldn't do any work. He just stayed at home all day. And finally, his wife, she became a servant. She was sold into servitude to another man's house. She became a nokarani. She became a servant, cleaning up, taking care of his household. And then Bhai Manj thought to himself, he said, what's happening here? He's like, I've lost everything. He said, why did the Guru do this? Guru Sahib, tusi da kyon kita? Guru Sahib, why did Guru Sahib do this? He started wondering in his head when he was trying to sleep at night, that why would Guru Sahib do this to any Sikh? And so Bhai Manj, he's so sad, having lost everything, all the wealth, power, everything he had. He sat there in his bed, and there's a pankti from Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vara. And Bhai Gurdas Ji says, Je gur sang vartada Sikh sidk na hare. Song meaning Je gur sang vartada. The word song means if Guru Sahib does something that puts the Sikh through trouble, that it doesn't make sense, that why is Guru Sahib doing this? Je gur sang vartada Sikh sidk na hare. The Sikh should not lose his purosa, his faith in the Guru. So Bhai Manj at that point, even though he had lost everything, he remembered that Guru Sahib had tested him, and that Guru Sahib said you will lose everything. That no matter everything you have, you will lose. And Bhai Manj, he got some more confidence, and he said, this is the test. And he said, I can't fail this test. Guru Sahib is testing me. So Bhai Manj decided that there was nothing for him left in his village. His daughter was gone, his wife was gone, his house was gone, everything was gone. He had nothing left there. So he said, why don't I go back to Amritsar and live with the Guru Sahib, live in Sangat. So then, Bhai Manj, he went to Amritsar and he started doing seva for the langar. And he would go to the jungles, the forest, he would cut down trees, he would cut down wood for the langar. So then, he would bring the langar, the woods, the firewood to the langar, and he would do this all day. He would wake up at Amrit Vela, he would read his Barni, he would do his Simran, he would do Sangat, and then all day long he would bring wood, all day long. Because langar used to go on multiple times a day, all day long he would be working. And the Gursikh started saying that Tanya Bhai Manj, that Bhai Manj is Tan, that this Gursikh, he sleeps very little, he always doing seva. And so one day in Sangat, Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, Bhai Manj kithe aa tu? And Bhai Manj stood up. And the Gursikhs thought, now finally Guru Sahib is going to show his happiness to Bhai Manj. That after all this seva, after losing everything, Bhai Manj has stayed true to Sikhi. He has stuck to Sikhi. He has stayed true to his values and beliefs. The Guru Sahib is going to reward him now. But what Guru Sahib said was, he's like, Manj, tu kithe khanna ya? Tu kithe rehna ya? Where do you eat? Where do you sleep? And Bhai Manj said, Guru Sahib, I sleep in the Guru Kar, I eat in the Guru Kar. And then Guru Sahib said, "Fir tu seva to nahi karda tu? You're not doing seva, you're doing a job. You go all day, you do work, and you get fed, and you get a house. You have a roof over your head. That's not seva. That you're doing a dihadiyan launa tu ta kaam karda hai. You're doing a job." And Bhai Manj understood. He asked for forgiveness. Guru Sahib, galti hogi, maaf kar do. And then Guru Sahib said, "Bhai Manj, oi Manj, tenu ki fayda hoya Sikhi da? You've lost everything. Tenu ki fayda hoya? Why did you become Sikh? Tenu koi fayda hoya? Have you gotten anything from this? You've lost your wealth. You've lost your position. You have nothing." And Bhai Manj said, "Guru Sahib, baksh to, I am pulanhar." And Guru Sahib said, "Chal ja." And the Sikhs were so shocked. They said, "How can Guru Sahib be so rude? How can Guru Sahib be so angry with him? How can Guru Sahib be so strict and stern with him?" But remember, Je Gur Sang Vartda Sikh Siddhak na hare. Guru Sahib tests us. Je Gur Sang Vartda Sikh Siddhak na hare. So Bhai Manj, from that day on, what he started to do, he would work all day bringing in the firewood for the langar. Then he would work all night, finding odd jobs or anything he could find. He would work all night. And out of the money he made working, in Panth Prakash, it's written that he would split it into four hisse. So 25%. And so 75% of that money that he made working, he would give to the Guru. We give the Swan the 10%, he would give 75% into the Golak. Then he had 25% left of his earnings, which were nothing really. And he would use those 25%, that percentage of his wealth, the money he made, and he would feed the poor with that money. He would take care of the needy, and then with whatever was left over, he would get enough for him to eat. And he would get enough for him to live somewhere. That very little money he had. And he continued to do this for a very long time. And the Gursikhs, the Panth at that time were like, "Tanya Bhai Manj, Je Gur Sang Varda, Sikh Siddhak na hare." That Bhai Manj did not lose his Siddhak. He did not lose his Parosa, his faith in Guru Sahib. So then one day, we're getting towards the end of the Sakhi. One day there was Bhai Manj was gone to get the firewood for the langar. And he was in the jungle, he was in the forest. And what happened was that there was a big windstorm came. And with the windstorm, everything was blowing around, the dirt was blowing around, and Bhai Manj couldn't see before his own hand. If he put his hand in front of his eyes, he couldn't see it. He couldn't see what's happening nearby. And he was trying to make his way back to Darbar Sahib, to the langar, so the Sangat could have the firewood to cook the langar. And so what happened is he's walking, he has the firewood on his shoulder. He's walking, he can't see what's in front of him. He's lost, he's trying to find his way back to the langar, and there's a well in front of him, and he falls down in the well. So now back at the Darbar side of the langar, the Gursikhs are waiting for Bhai Manj, and they're afraid, they're worried something's happened because the weather is horrible outside. And after a little while, they realize that Bhai Manj must have been lost, something must have happened, and they're afraid. So they go looking for him. And they look for hours, they look, and they keep looking. And then finally, you know what they hear? They hear Bani being sung in a mithi awaj. They hear this Bani being sung and they know they found Bhai Manj. Because that was the same mithi awaj that Bhai Manj used to sing Bani when he was doing seva in the langar. They recognize the voice. They could recognize it anywhere. So they followed that voice and they found Bhai Manj in the well. And they went and they told Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji came running from his sitting on the takht. He came running to the well, and he said, throw down a rope, get Bhai Manj out. And when the Gursikhs looked into the well, what did they see? They saw Bhai Manj. He was in the water, he was floating on the water, but the firewood was on his head. He did not let it get wet, because if the firewood had gotten wet, it would have been useless for the langar. So this is how much bharosa Bhai Manj had. This is how much dedication Bhai Manj had to his seva, that even in such a dire circumstance, he did not let the firewood get wet. So they throw down a rope and they said, Bhai Manj, leave the wood, leave the fire, what are you doing? Leave the firewood, tu aap aaja. And Bhai Manj said, no. He said, if you want me to come out, then first take the wood out. So he tied the rope to the firewood, the bundle of the wood, and he sent it up through the well to the top. And they took that, and then they threw the rope back down, and then Bhai Manj came out. And then when Bhai Manj came out, he fell at Guru Arjan Dev Ji's feet, and he started crying, and he said, Guru Sahib Baksh lo, Guru Sahib Baksh lo. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, Bhai Manj, I am so happy, I'm so happy with you. You've passed this test. You deserve Sikhi. You recognize the value of Sikhi. And he said, Bhai Manj, ask for something. Ask for some blessing. And Bhai Manj said, Guru Sahib, all I want is Sikhi. That's all I need. And Guru Sahib said, "Theek hai, tenu Sikhi mil gayi hai, ask for something else." And Bhai Manj says, Guru Sahib, give me santokh, that I am happy with what I have. That I am content with what I have, and I don't think about my past and what I lost. And Guru Sahib said, "Theek hai, mil jugi, ask for something else. You can have I'm giving you santokh. Still, kuch mangala, ask something for yourself." And Bhai Manj said, Guru Sahib, this test was too hard. This test, it was way too hard. In the future, don't test your Sikhs this harshly. Don't test your Sikhs this hard. In all that, Bhai Manj could have asked for anything. He could have said, Guru Sahib, give me back my money, give me back my family, give me back my house. But he asked for one thing. He asked for is for us, the future generations, that when we get into Sikhi, that Guru Sahib doesn't test us as hard. And Guru Sahib said, "Theek hai, Sat Bachan." Guru Sahib accepted it, and he said, "I accept your wish." So then Bhai Manj, he went back home, and slowly, his crops, they started regrowing. He started getting his money back. He slowly got his house back. He slowly got his wife back out of servitude. And eventually, everything was restored. He became again powerful and rich and wealthy. But now he had nimrata. He had humility. This test he had gone through, it made him humble. This test he had gone through, it gave him something that he didn't have before. Now he has Sikhi. He had a firm foundation for his Sikhi. So then many years later, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, on their prachar in Punjab, they came to Bhai Manj's house in Hoshiarpur area in Doaba, and they stayed at the Guru Sahib stayed at Bhai Manj's house. And Bhai Manj, he became famous for putting on langars. Even to this day, his Gurdwara in Hoshiarpur district, they put on big langars for the Sangat and for the needy. And so what we learned from this is Jai Gur Sang Vartada, Sikh Siddhak na Hare, and that if Guru does something to us in our life, sometimes the smallest inconvenience happens, and we think, oh, why did Guru Sahib do this? And we lose that faith in Guru Sahib. So we should look to the Sakhi of Bhai Manj. And the other Pankti, Paya Manur Kanchan Fir Hove, Jai Gur Mila Taneha. If you meet that Guru, you can be the most evil person. You can be Korda Rakash, you can be Sajjan Thag, you can be the most evil person. But Paya Manur Kanchan Fir Hove, Jai Gur Mila Taneha. You can become gold, you can become valuable, and you become spiritual. You can become a spiritual guide for others. So that's the ending of the Sakhi there. And so I hope everyone learned something. And if I made any mistakes while speaking, which I'm sure I did, please forgive me. So just I'm going to repeat the last line of the Shabad that I began in the beginning. And we can all sing it if you know it, but then we'll end it. So Vaheguru Haun kya salahi keram jant vadi teri vadiyai. Haun kya salahi keram jant vadi teri vadiyai. Vadi teri vadiyai.